Hi, you are all very welcome to this quick video chat that we're having with Peter Smyth from the Central Statistics Office here today. And I suppose the reason the Volunteer Centre are getting involved in doing this just to get the message out there about the importance of the census and how as a social document, it helps inform policy going forward. So we hope you enjoy our chat and that you engage with the census on April 3rd. So Peter, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Smyth and I'm the Regional Supervisor for Donegal. There are two regions in Donegal. There's one region, which is over the west of the county, and I look after from Inishowen down as far as Ballybuffet. And in that area, we have 10 field supervisors and 91 enumerators. So that's the background of what I do. I'm supposed to be cracking the whip to keep them in tune, but there's not too much cracking to have to be done.
That's it. You're in for a stressful month then, so Peter.
Hopefully not too bad.
Not too bad. No, but Peter, well, we were chatting earlier and you were saying there's 10 things you should know about the census. Could you give us a run through of that?
Certainly, John. Yeah, I suppose the first thing is, then the most important thing is the census night is on the 3rd of April, which is next Sunday night. And it's the first time we've had a census in 6 years. The last time was 2015. Normally, we would have the census every 5 years, but because of the pandemic last year, we had to cancel it for reasons best known to everybody. The second thing, I suppose, about the census is that the census is for everyone. It's everybody in Ireland should be enumerated on that and must be recorded on Sunday, the 3rd of April, and it should be included on a census form. The third thing is that, as I spoke about the enumerators, census forms should be delivered to every household in the country. And as well as that, they should be collected again by somebody from this enumerator from the census office. There is a choice. If you don't want to give your completed census form to an enumerator, it can be sent off directly to the Central Statistic Office in Swords. The fourth thing is, and the most important for everybody, is that the census is 100% confidential. Nobody sees the census apart from the enumerator and possibly the field supervisor who checks to make sure it's properly filled in. After that, they are sworn. When enumerators and field supervisors and myself join the census, we take an oath of secrecy. So we're covered under the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation. So it's highly confidential. So don't ever worry. The next time anybody sees the census form will be in 100 years' time, when it's part of history at that stage.
So we won't have to worry about it at that stage.
No, hopefully not anyway. The other thing is the census is quick and easy to fill in. And if anybody has any problems with completing the census form, they can log on to help@www.census.ie. It's really a self-explanatory, but just in case anybody wouldn't be 100% sure, that's there. And I suppose the sixth thing, the census provides information about Ireland today, so as we can plan for tomorrow. That's basically the main reason why we will have the census. It's planning, it's to let people know where the number of children are going to be so they can provide schools, to let people know where there's an aging community where they can try and plan for hospitals and care at that stage. But the myth that some people think census is just to get information and to use it against you is absolutely untrue. It's really, as I say, once the census goes into the box and heads back to the Central Statistics Office, it goes through a machine, and the way you fill it out is recorded on the machine, and that's the last thing. It's actually packed into a box, a cardboard box, which has been tested that it's not going to disintegrate before the 100 years is up, and that's the next time it's seen. As well as that, the census helps to see how Ireland is changing and developing. Totally on a statistic basis, but it gives a snapshot of what happens on the day in 2022. The other thing, I suppose, it is if you need to access census data, it's quite easy to access, and it's available to anybody who wants to log into the census, the www.cso.ie, so you can see what has happened, the statistics of the last census in 2015. I'll let you know what number census this is just when I finish off. But again, it's for future generations. It'll help them to understand what Ireland was like in 2022. So and for finally, the number 10 thing, it's your chance, it's everybody's individual chance to be counted and be part of Ireland's future. And that's the final bit of what the census is all about. Just to let you know that this is the 26th census that Ireland's had since 1841. And for information purposes, this time it's expected that the population of Ireland will be over 5 million. And the last time this happened, for your information, was in 1851 when the population of Ireland was 5.1 million. That's a little bit of background about the census.
That's fantastic, Peter. Thank you for that. And for just, I suppose, for people that are engaged with ourselves as well, for the first time ever, there's a question about volunteering on the census. So we hope everybody ticks that box and kind of commits their volunteering to history and commits it to that bigger society picture. And like you said there, around planning and development, so the census isn't about the individual story, it's about that kind of collective community story. So it's about us knowing how many people speak Spanish or how many people speak Hindi in Donegal, and that kind of age profile, and just to help us plan for services. That's the function of the census, isn't it?
Absolutely. The main reason for the census, while it does provide a snapshot on the day of the number of people in Ireland, the real value of the census is the ability to know how to plan, as I said before, for schools, for schools and for health reasons, for roads, for, you know, it's vital that they know where they can put in the money. And even for small ethnic groups, it's vital that they know what ethnicity is in Ireland, so they can provide for those ethnic groups as well.
There is, and we've seen that I know in discussions with colleagues from the likes of Donegal Travellers Project and the Intercultural Platform, how important it is that people put in their ethnicity within that form, and that they pick the one that is most appealing to them, so that we have a true picture of the ethnic makeup of Donegal. Yeah.
No. Well, I think there was a mistake the last time. We would certainly have a liaison officer going around to the various sites where the travelling community are. And this was instigated by Pavy Point, because in the last census, the travelling community weren't properly recorded. So they're trying to ensure this time at least the travelling community is fully recorded. And I know from chatting to enumerators that when they go to the travelling community, they have great fun and they have a great laugh with the people there.
Fantastic, a fantastic community, and they're very community minded and working within that. So I suppose that's us in our brief chat and the important things that people need to know about the census. There's one message, I suppose, that you want people to take away from our chat. What would that be?
Just please ensure that you're enumerated, that you're counted. The main thing is that, and for people not to be worried about their personal information being shared anywhere, that will not be seen for 100 years. The people who are taking and collecting the forms that will be checking them have signed confidentiality agreements. So be counted and have no fears about your personal data being shared anywhere. The next time anybody will see this will be in 100 years' time.
Very good. And Peter, for one final question, what do you think you'll put into your memory box, the box on it? What for you would you want future Smyths to see?
He was a great footballer when he was a young fella.
Well, that's good.
I don't think I'll start trying to compose any poetry or be any kind of a poet on it, but it's something I've been looking at, and whether I use the facility or not, I don't know. But bear in mind, the one thing about that part of the census form is we do not want any attachments to it, like photographs or notes or anything like that. Whatever has to be written down must be written on the piece of the white sheet that's on the back of the census form.
And know that we'll be judged by future generations for, you know,
that's
something that's
right,
funny
John.
now might not be funny in 100 years' time. And, you know, it's a lovely opportunity, because I know I've looked back in my own family history, and it's lovely to see the signature of, you know, what would be your great-grandfather or your great-great-grandfather. And hopefully, you know, that in generations to come, we'll all get to share that again. So, Peter, look, thank you very much.
Yeah, there are some people that have a huge interest in census, and will look up census maybe once a week. Other people, anybody that's historically minded, will certainly be very familiar with census data. I know friends of mine who are Irish speakers will look at the number of people 40 years ago that were speaking Irish. I would spend a good bit of time around Downings playing golf and that, and I go playing cards sometimes down there. They always speak in Irish, and they're just looking to see, well, many people spoke Irish 40 years ago, 70 years ago, etc., etc. And they have a big interest in it.
It is, and look, it's our cultural story, and it is the picture of Letterkenny, or the picture of Donegal for that night, as to who was where and who was at what. So, Peter, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for joining us. And look, if we can be of any assistance, cso.ie, and come back and chat to your community representatives, just to make sure that we get everybody counted and we all participate. So, Peter, thank you.
You're welcome.